And now, your mama knows. One, two, three, four. And now, what's going on, guys? This is pretty cool. I have the honor and pleasure to do another So Let's Talk interview. But today is gonna be none other. Let me turn this down a little bit because it's a little loud in my ear. Make sure you guys can hear us loud and clear. But it's none other than Blue Bobs, aka Andrew, the Gaming CPA, and this is gonna be cool. So, Blue Bobs, let me let you in on a little something. All the interviews I've done so far have been very interesting people, right? I interviewed a couple guys that I know, and they're all content creators, right? They have a show they call Food for the Culture, right? I interviewed a friend of mine who he called himself the Black Atheist, right? First episode, I interviewed a friend of mine. She says she could heal people like with her hands, but even just talking to you over the phone. She does like a spiritual type thing. I
Uh-huh.
interviewed a buddy of mine he's a DJ Justin Love. And so it's been awesome interviewing different people. I interviewed Token Gamer, and you already
Yeah.
met him. And man,
Yeah.
Token Gamer and the blockchain universe, awesome stuff.
Cool
But
guy.
today, my friend, I get to interview the man who called himself the Gaming CPA.
The one and only. The one and only. Yeah, thanks for having me, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Definitely. So I always have a bunch of questions that I got, that you have no clue what I'm going to ask you.
No clue.
But the main thing is all about you. It's all about bringing awareness to other people. Your YouTube channel, everything you do. The fact that you're a CPA, you could actually, have clients all over. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah, definitely. I
So
mean, I have clients multiple states. So, yep, all over the place.
okay, cool. So with that said, if you can, and also you did say you don't mind doing this live. So
Correct.
majority of the ones I do, I actually never do them live. I record them and put them out there. But I think it's cool that you're like, let's do it live. So I've been telling
Yeah, man.
people to get their questions ready, and you don't have a problem answering
Yes.
questions, correct?
Oh, of course not. Yep. The more the merrier. If they're super complicated, I might have to research it first.
Okay.
But for the most part, yeah. I mean, fire away. If
All right,
there's
cool.
any questions in the
So
chat.
let me put this on. Can it fit around my hat? I usually have it on first, and I forgot to put it on. Okay. Because I like to have I like to have everyone's comments and stuff right in front of me.
Yeah.
I got this around backwards. It doesn't matter. And so I want to be able to see people's questions, guys. So let's get into this. Jeez, we got a lot of people that already. All right, so let me go through the chat. So
Do it.
geez, guys, hold on. So Stadia Bet Gaming's in the house. He said, let's get it. He said, let's get at it with some taxes and gaming. Whoop whoop. Oh man! Oh, you already been reading the comments. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let me just look in there a little bit. City Bet Gaming said had to email some forms to my bank for them to deposit. All right. Okay. Some stimulus checks. Watching football on YouTube. Cool. Good stuff. All right. So, oh man, Josh Warren's in the building. Josh Warren is a good friend of mine. He was actually one of the gentlemen on that interview I told you. They do Food for the Culture.
Oh, cool.
And I always give him credit because when my YouTube channel was just a hobby, he was the guy that made me think, you know what, I want to make this something real. So it's really cool to see him in here. He's always giving me good advice and coming up with good stuff. So let's get this thing started. Awesome. First of all, let me put this on, let's see, full screen. All right, cool. Now, so the first thing I want to get into is you, man. I want to ask you, we're going to get into gaming, but I think this is more than gaming, which is awesome. Your name is the Gaming CPA. So we're going to get into gaming, but I want to know more about the CPA. And I did ask you a bunch of questions before when you were streaming, but I would like to ask you some other stuff and we go deep, we dive into it. So can we get the introduction of what made you decide to be a CPA? Could you take us into school or before school? Like what led you into this career path? Let's start with that.
Totally. Yeah, and I'm assuming, is this an hour and a half show? Because I'm the son of a preacher, so I can go on, man.
Oh man, typically, they've typically been like 45 minutes, but when I did the blockchain universe, he went out there, so it was like an hour and a half. But it's up to you, you could keep your stuff detailed, or short and sweet. You could make it extra detailed. It's whatever you like to share. But of course, like I said, I got some questions I'm going to ask. But I want you to elaborate and tell us however you feel to answer the question. So it's the show time is yours. My wife said, "Hey," I told her, "Look, I'm interviewing the Gaming CPA." She said, "All right, do your things. I'm gonna hang with the kids." So we got all day.
Perfect.
So,
we got all day.
All right, well, I'll try to be more. Is that a true story? You're the son of a preacher?
Yeah, I mean, he went to seminary. He's actually a teacher at a private school, but he also has done a lot of preaching at churches and filled in as a substitute pastor, as well as doing a lot of funerals. But yeah, no, he is technically a preacher. So,
wow.
But yeah, so I guess for me to kind of like really quick background, I'm the youngest of 9 kids. So 9 kids in the family. So I'm the baby of the family. And I think that kind of got me to be kind of driven into seeing my older siblings and what they were doing and being like, I had a certain sibling that I really wanted to aspire and be like, and he went into business. And so once I was a sophomore in high school, I was like, all right, I'm going to go be a business major. I'm going to go do business. So once I graduated high school and went off to college, I started taking like 19 credits a semester and was really stockpiling a lot of credits. And I was like, well, business is kind of a generic major to go into. And I really loved math. And I had a super cool accounting professor. And he was like, hey, become an accountant. You like math, you can sit for the CPA exam because you're stockpiling so many credits. Why don't you just do that? So I'm technically a double major in business management and financial accounting.
Oh, cool.
So that's kind of where that came from. And then it took me about 2.5 years or 2 years to get the CPA license, which is kind of like the ultimate top level of accounting, the highest part of accounting you can be. And that's kind of also a little bit of being the youngest sibling and seeing and being like, I always want to be the best I can be. I always want to do the best. And being the youngest of 9 kids, our family, we didn't have a whole lot of money, and our parents instilled good work ethic, hard work ethics in all of us kids. So none of us kids are hungry at all, thanks to my parents being that. And so just being like, hey, if I'm going to go into a career field, I want to go to the top.
So
And
can
be
I
the
jump in there
best.
real quick?
Yeah.
So you said you took 2 years, right? So did
Mm-hmm.
you have to go to college or did you take a course?
Yes. So to qualify for a CPA and actually be able to take the test, it's 4 different tests. But before you can do that, you have to have 150 credit hours of college credit.
Okay.
So you have to do, normally you can do it in 4 years if you do like 18 or 19 credits a semester. Some people might do like a 12 credit semester and then have to do an extra year of college, but you do have to have 150 college credit hours accumulated. And so due to the fact I was stockpiling so much and taking so much school while I was there, because I'm like, hey, if I'm going to be paying $30,000 for tuition, I might as well be, getting my money worth. And so that allowed me to sit for the CPA exam after. I think I waited maybe a couple months before actually starting the studying for those 4 tests. And each test probably took me a couple months. And if you fail, then you have to retake it. And it was a very, very stressful time. I like to think that a CPA license is almost pretty similar to like a law degree license as far as difficulty. But it's good. I mean, I think on my CPA license, it says I'm like 30, my license number is 37,000. So, and CPAs have been around for a long time. If I'm the 37,000th in Washington, I feel like there's not a whole lot out there. I mean, that's obviously a lot of people, but at the same time, if it started a while ago, some have probably died. But yeah, so that's kind of where then I came. I've been a CPA since I want to say 2018. So a couple of years, and I've had a full tax season of CPA and about maybe even 2 tax seasons. And then I ended up leaving the accounting firm I was working at. So now I'm a financial analyst at just a big company here locally that's a subsidiary of Boeing, who produces airplanes. And the reason I left is because after being a CPA, the next level is partner. You want to be a partner in an accounting firm. Like that's the big, and they just wanted to be a family partnership. They didn't want to sell to any people that weren't family members. So I was like, well, in that case, I'm going to go somewhere else and then I'll start my own accounting firm down the road. But I have a 3-year covenant not to compete. So I'm not supposed to technically start an accounting firm for 3 years within a 20-mile radius of them, which is fine because right now my current job is totally, I'm super happy with, but it also allows me to kind of dabble in the CPA and get my own clients kind of on the side until I'm ready to push into that accounting firm and go full into being that CPA and flexing that CPA license a little bit more.
Now, do you think in 3 years you'll think you'll be ready? That'll be what you would want to aspire to do in 3 years, or you think you'll just keep coasting right now? I'm going to ask you this, but later on. But I know you do got something you're doing with your brother as well. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
So do you want?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I mean, definitely. Honestly, the freedom you get by being your own boss and being your own owner of your own firm, or just being in control of your own kind of work life, that's my ideal goal. Right now, yeah, kind of in my certain situation, my brother and I are doing some real estate. We have a big development project coming up to the point where it's nice to have that safety of the W-2 income coming in from working for someone else. That is a bonus. But I do foresee if the development goes well in the next 2 years, possibly maybe throwing some more money into the accounting firm and then starting that marketing, that advertising, and then trying to get the clients. I think it's a huge advantage being a younger CPA with technology and understanding the cloud. There's cloud software out there, just like there's cloud gaming out there, and not having to be tied down to a desktop or to something like that when you can utilize the cloud, which might cost a little more. You might do a monthly payment instead of buying something up front.
Right.
But at the same time, being able to go to a client's office with my iPad and doing taxes there and like meeting with them, as opposed to being like, hey, you have to come in, and especially now with COVID, where that's kind of like Zoom calls is the new norm. I think that's a huge advantage. So yeah, hopefully in the next year or two, might be trying that.
So we're going to dive into more of this, but what I want to do is keep the contrast of the title is the Gaming CPA. So the people that are watching, most people are watching because they're gamers. So let's not draw them too far away. Guys, we're going to get into some gaming, but I really wanted to, I think your thing is clever, man, Gaming CPA. So I want to know a lot about the CPA. That's a big part of your life. And gaming is too, obviously, but so I wanted the focus of this interview, just so you guys know, to be more about the CPA stuff. But we got to get into some gaming. So when did you, were you like the kid that was a gamer since you was like little, or did you like play sports and stuff and then get into gaming? Like, tell me about your gaming background. Actually, and let me just look in the chat because I see a couple stuff popping up. So I just want to make sure we're getting some people. Let's see. Lord Gaming Man said, what games you wanted Stadia 2021, Gaming CPA? We'll definitely get into that. We'll get into that. Eddie Player One is in the building. So how long have you been a CPA? That's pretty cool. All right, we'll get into that. And let's see. Squid is here. Thank you for joining, Squid. He said, dropping a like and watching in 2.5 hours after work. Okay, fair enough. And then Josh said, very cool journey. My dad got his CPA before the law degree. Did you learn about any new aircraft tech while worked for Boeing? All right, so let's do this real quick. Let you answer Eddie's question of how long you've been a CPA, and then I want to ask you a little bit about gaming.
Yeah. So CPA 2018 is when I first got it. I technically finished. So the cool story is my wife and I got married in 2017, September, and I had one final test I had taken before we got married. And I found out the day after I got married, I passed it. So I passed my fourth and final test. So I was technically allowed to be a CPA. I just had to take one more little ethics course. And then I filed it with Washington so that it became effective on January 1 of 2018. So it's been coming up on 3 years. So I actually just did like 72 hours of CPE credit, which is continuing professional education, so that you stay up to date on the tax law and all that. Especially with COVID, it was very important. Sadly, I jam-packed it into my winter break here, but it was good to kind of go through it all. So it allows me to keep my Washington license, and I'm still an active CPA. So yep, about 3 years now.
Okay. And then what about Josh's question? Is there anything to the Boeing jets? Did you learn anything about any aircraft?
So we're a subsidiary of Boeing. We actually build drones for government and military. So we build little UAV drones, basically that kind of go with cameras. They also have radio drones that can basically extend radio range for troops, but it's for military and government. So Boeing bought the company I work for about, I think, 8 years ago. And we are a subsidiary of them, but we don't really interact too much with them per se, but they just happen to own us. So.
Okay. And then, so gaming, man, let's hear it. So,
yes.
Again, were you like, I grew up playing games as a little kid, right? But some people are like, I didn't get into games until a little later. So my question for you is, were you always into games?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I loved playing video games as a young kid. Now our parents, like, we couldn't afford, or like they want us to be active. So I played sports my whole life. So 17 years from age 5 to graduating college at 22 when I played college soccer. We did a bunch of sports. Like, we had a 15 passenger van for our family of 11, and we would go to one sibling's game and then hop to another. And we had baseball where there were 3 fields, and literally 2 siblings are playing on each field at a time. So we did a lot of sports, but I always loved video games a whole bunch. So whenever I went to a friend's house, he had a PS2, Gauntlet Legends. We'd stay up all night playing video games, man. So, and then I do remember my parents would let us every now and again go to your local movie store and rent a Nintendo 64, and we would get Super Smash Bros. And we'd get Mario Party. And that cost $20 for 5 days, but we'd rent it. Very, very special occasions, my parents would allow us to do that. But the only gaming I really did growing up besides that is when one of my older siblings got a Game Boy Advance SP and got to do some Pokemon Emerald Edition. And I even bought like the book and everything. And I was on road trips to like 2-hour away soccer games. I'd be playing on that. But I think I ended up getting an Xbox maybe my junior, senior year. A friend got the Xbox 360 and gave me his old Xbox. So I think I had Halo, and I want to say I had Battlefront. But it wasn't until like college that I got my own kind of like Xbox 360
Mhm.
and got Borderlands and was playing with a buddy of mine. And then from there, when I bought my house a couple years ago, it's basically for the most part been Xbox. I did a little bit of PC gaming
Okay.
for a hot minute, but never had the hardware to do it that well. So I remember when Minecraft first came out, played some then. But I would say it's been kind of in and out. But I've always loved gaming. Like in college, we gamed a lot. We played a lot of video games.
N-
But go ahead.
Now, your name, the Gaming CPA. So I want to know
Yes.
that because we're gonna get it. I want to ask you little bit about Stadiosource, but your
Yeah.
gaming name. What was it all like? What do you remember? What was your first gaming name? Like, because we like to call you the Gaming CPA. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was your first gaming name?
I think my first gamer tag was probably just Andrew RS09, which was just like my basically my name, and then I'm the ninth kid. It was really cheesy, and it wasn't until college I created Blue Bobs,
Mhm.
and that was because I had basically created my own nickname in college where I called myself Bob, and my buddy brought up some gumballs that his family was very well off, so they went to Vegas and they like to enjoy doing a little gambling, smoking cigars. And he brought me back gumballs that were called blue balls and had a monkey on it with, blue ball gumballs. And so that's where when I created my Xbox name in college, I decided to call myself Blue Bobs. And I really started to turn it to the gaming CPA, honestly, right before kind of Stadiosource, kind of towards when Stadia launched. I was like, go ahead.
Wait. Now, remember, you told me the story before, which was awesome, but you left out the part of the name Bob. So tell them the Bob part.
Yes, right. Good call. So the name Bob, I love giving people nicknames. Okay, it's like one of my hobbies. I don't know why it's weird, but like whenever I had my whole soccer team, I had nicknames for most of them, and I just love to call people nicknames. So Psych 101 in college, the professor asked us, "Hey, do any of you guys have like nicknames you go by?" And I had a couple growing up from my siblings that I didn't really like a whole lot, but no one ever called me by a nickname. So I decided to nickname myself and call myself Bob. So the teacher was like, "And what about you, young man?" And I was like, "Oh, I go by Bob." And she's like, "Okay." And she kind of looked at me for a second, but then she looked down. My middle name is Robert. So it kind of makes sense when, if she's looking at a roll call and she sees Andrew Robert Stenberg, then she'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But no one, my whole soccer team looked at me and they're like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, no one calls you Bob. So ever since then, they started to call me Bob. So that's where the nickname Bob came from the first time.
Right. So to let everybody know, the things from Vegas was blue balls and then taking out the balls and putting the Bob. So guys with the Z at the end. So
Mm-hmm.
now you guys know blue Bobs. And from time to time, I'll
Yeah.
mess with him. I'll jump in his chat and be like, "What's up, blue balls?"
Yeah,
Because I knew the
exactly.
whole story. But all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this though: did you ever use gaming CPA as a tag, or was that something you decided to add with the Stadia source?
So that was kind of something I feel like I added. I want to say I added maybe when I started doing YouTube content when Stadia launched. I didn't really do a whole lot of YouTube streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little bit based on what I heard about Stadia. I was like, dude, once it integrates with YouTube, that's going to be huge. So see you later, Twitch. Not that I really had many viewers on Twitch,
Right.
and I'm just going to start doing YouTube content. And so I was before Stadia had launched, because I think back in June is when I created the YouTube. I was just streaming like Apex Legends and stuff I was playing on Xbox. And I want to say that around maybe when Stadia actually launched, I was like, oh, I'll just say I'm the gaming CPA, in the off chance that my channel ever like gets big and people are like, hey, you're a CPA. And,
Right.
just any way to kind of get clients, in my opinion is like, it might seem silly, but if someone sees like CPA, and they think taxes, then all of a sudden 1 year they get hit with some crazy tax scenario, or they're a YouTuber that hits the 1,000 subscriber mark and they get a 1099 from YouTube and they're like, crap, not to pay taxes on this, then they might be like, wait, I know a gamer that's also a CPA. And it's kind of like, I don't really know of any CPAs that have the niche market of going after gamers, because, for the most part, until Ninja went big, until Dr. Disrespect went big,
Right.
and they had to start filing like huge taxes and they're showing massive income, no one really considered gaming a job or a lifestyle, where it's like, it can be a real revenue generating thing once you hit a certain,
Right.
like
Right.
big subscriber count. But at the same time, let's say you just hit 1,000 subs or 2,000, you make a couple $100, like, why are you even paying taxes on that couple $100?
Right.
Like, why don't we write off some stuff and you're paying no taxes? So
Well,
I was trying to kind of hit the niche.
is
Oh, go
there?
ahead.
I know because I'm a part-time MC, and I know I have to make more than $600 in a given year in order to even file my 1099. So is that would that? Be the same thing?
Yeah, so federal requirement is you have to make, if you make over $600, or let's say I pay out $600 to a
Right.
contractor for labor, I have to issue that 1099. However, I don't know, YouTube might just spam it out regardless of how much you make.
Right.
I don't have 1,000 subs, so I'm not sure. So I'm
Right.
spitballing. Obviously the IRS says you should include the income no matter no matter
Another
if it's
amount.
$600 or not. But the $600 amount is basically, if a 1099 gets filed with the IRS, you better include the income, because they're going to check it with their software, basically saying, hey, YouTube said you made $800. You said you made none. Something's funky. You might
Right.
get audited. So
Now, for
that's
full
something.
transparency for some people that's in the building, tell them what CPA stands for.
Yes. So great question. CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. So to become the CPA, you got to take those 4 tests, and then continue up on continuing professional education. And CPA allows you to sign tax returns. So if I were to prepare a tax return for you before I was a CPA, I wouldn't be able to sign it. If I'm in an accounting firm, that's going to go to an actual CPA to review the tax return, and then they'll sign it with their signature, and then you as the tax preparer will sign it as well.
Right.
So
now let me
yep.
do something real quick, because I'm one of those people. This is going to drive me crazy. I made a picture for you, and it was part of my, part of my thing that I do. So guys, you're going to see a little bit of behind the scenes. But part of my, I'm an everything channel, so I just put, a little piece of everything. So for some reason, your picture disappeared.
Oh no.
And I don't know why that happened. Maybe it's because let me see. Yeah, it's not there. Maybe because I put the new picture reversed or whatever, but here, let me try to find it again. For some reason, yeah,
Oh,
it's
did you?
like, yeah, I'm like, hey, where'd his picture go, man? So
Hopefully it
that's
got
driving me a little
deleted.
crazy as I'm looking. And yeah, for whatever reason, that picture doesn't want to come back.
Is it it's not in the background or behind?
No,
And
it's I have it in a space where you would be able to see it. And
oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
I guess it has to do with let's see something real quick. Sorry guys, but I'm looking at it like I set that up. Where did it go? I know I did
Uh,
flip it one time by mistake. Let's see. Flip
Scarlett
screen.
said if you move the picture in a different file, it will be gone.
Oh,
But I
is
guess if
that
you're able to track it down.
okay? So maybe is that what I did? Oh, go back. Well, I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to not have your picture. That's not cool. That bothers me. All right, here, let's do this. Let me let me get rid of the picture altogether, right? And then let
Got that?
me try to add it again. All right, just real quick, guys, and I'm gonna get back to the interview, but it's driving me crazy. All right, here we go.
Yeah, yeah. I can read some chat and go through some
Hey.
questions. Oh, there it is.
Oh
There
yeah,
it is.
definitely. Yeah, you can see the chat. Please answer questions. Sorry
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Very cool. My buddy Nate in the Air Force flies the drones. What was the first game you ever streamed? I want to say it was probably Apex Legends, if I had to guess. It was the first game I ever streamed. And just subscribe to your channel. What are your thoughts on the versatility of the Stadia platform? The great thing about Stadia platform, and the reason why, so I just recently upgraded my gaming PC. It's the last time I'm going to do it, because I foresee in the next 3 to 5 years when I'd have to upgrade again, Stadia is going to have all the games I'm going to ever need and play. And my tax software is all going to be in the cloud as well. So like, this is going to be the base of the last PC you're ever going to need, because it only makes sense that we were start to remove the aspect of the hardware necessities and go to the cloud. So I think the versatility and the beauty about Stadia being cloud gaming and all that is just, it's such a beautiful thing. And I wish it was like Stadia was its own separate stock that you can invest in, because I only see it going up, man. Sadly,
Yeah, I
it's a part
mean,
of Google,
it's
but
and the cool thing is it's gonna lead the way. I mean, it is leading the way because all the other cloud platforms, Stadia is different. So it's built for the cloud, right? So like
yeah,
the way they built it, and they're gonna make cloud native games as well, right? Whereas the other
yes,
stuff, they're just porting games over, but Stadia is just ready, like, and they're working on games now. So with that
yeah.
said, when and how did you join Stadiosource? Because you've been there before
Mm.
me, so and I will say this, you were really cool. You were one of the first people that was so nice to me and was trying to help me out when
Oh yeah,
I was
man.
having a nightmare of trying to figure out
Yeah.
my old computer, just couldn't run OBS and all this stuff. So when did you join Stadiosource, and how did that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know the exact date.
Okay.
Let's see if jump to date. No, okay. But it was back, I want to say it's like October maybe of last year. So Anthony, or not, sorry, Avery, you're Anthony. Avery had posted in the Pro Stadia Facebook group and was like, hey, if there are any streamers that like want to stream to a bigger channel and like get more subs to your channel, like do this kind of thing, like let me know and we can set up an interview. And so I messaged him right away. I'm like, hey, just saw your post, like would definitely be interested in doing this. I only have a couple, I think I had like 80 subs at the time or 60 subs, but I'd love to stream for Stadiosource because I just want to like try to help out Stadia as much as possible. And Avery was like, cool, like we'll set up a meeting. And first face to face, I like put him up on my iPad in the corner of my window and was like sitting back here talking to him. And but it was good. No, and so Avery did the whole interview process. He's like, all right, I'm gonna like go talk to my buddies, which was probably Dan and would be my guess. And he's like, but I feel really good about it. So, and we have this whole thing called Slack and et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of how I saw Stadiosaurus when they were looking for streamers for their team. So,
and this was what, October 2019?
I think so. Or sorry, maybe no, not October 2019. I was in like 2020. I think maybe it was like June or July of 2020 then.
Okay. Yeah, because
it was probably a couple months before you.
I came like because you were definitely before me, and I came in I remember Avengers was coming out September 1st, and
Gotcha.
I was already talking to you guys, and so I was already a part. So maybe I joined like in August, something like that. So
okay, yeah, I don't think I was much soon before you because I think he was trying to build the whole Dream Team.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah,
nice. So, what's your favorite video game platform or favorite video game system? Like since
I mean, so I put a lot of time into an Xbox, but I think I do like PC gaming a lot. I love using mouse and keyboard. I think that's a super fun and way to play. I feel like you have a good amount of control over it. And I have a bunch of Steam games. Like I have accumulated too many Steam games. So I would say for me, it's probably going to be a PC or a mouse and keyboard. I do love obviously Stadia is by far my favorite of the platforms.
Right.
Obviously on my limited internet speed, sometimes I don't get quite as good. But I just like the fact I can go to my parents' house and have my phone and play on my come on, guys. This is a no-brainer.
So could I throw a little crazy question in there, right? Off the cuff question, all right? I like to do this.
Okay.
When did you meet your wife? If that's
Great question.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the year was 2014, 7 years ago or 6. So in between my junior and senior year of college, I came home and there's a community soccer league that my brother and friend were a part of. So I joined and was playing. And after a game one time, typical thing I do is always take off my shirt after games. Gotta flex a little bit, try to attract the ladies, or scare them away. One of the two. But she had left her soccer ball, and I had seen her. We had just played her. They were on the red team. We were on the blue team. Go figure. Blue Bobs. Let's go. And so she had left her soccer ball. So I grabbed the soccer ball and was kind of walking towards her car. And she came to me and apparently we had actually gone to the same high school, which, for a lot of bigger towns, that's not a big deal. But we were in a small town and we had a private school, which is what my dad started back in the 70s or 80s. And then we had the public school, and she had actually played soccer at the same time I was in high school, but she was on the JV team. And so I actually never had seen her, but she knew who I was. So of course, small town thing, but I ended up Facebook messaging her afterwards and was super cocky and was like, hey, I play college soccer. If you want to learn some tricks, I can show you. Oh man. We looked back at the Facebook messages one day around. I was like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking?
Wow.
But so we ended up kind of hanging out a couple times. And then, we started to date, and I went off to my senior year of college and then came back. And I'm going to say we got engaged the May of 2017 and married September. It was a super short engagement. It was just hey, if we want to get married in the summertime, there's not much summertime left. We don't want to wait a whole year. That just seems silly. So, but yeah, that's how we met with soccer.
Now, what did she think about you streaming and stuff? Did she hear you in the room talking to the computer? What did she think about that?
Yeah, so she's a very supportive wife, which I love and appreciate. But I think that for the most part, especially when I first started, it was kind of you don't have many subs. It's not really doing much. I think once I hit the monetization part,
Mhm.
and maybe start seeing some funds coming in and all that, then it might be different. But she also focused. So recently I started my little 5-minute morning show. I posted
Which has been
a
awesome.
tax video, started to do a couple different things, because she was like, hey, I kind of watch YouTube, but I like to watch these other videos. Why don't you do more with your channel than just gaming? And so I was like, okay, that's some lovely criticism, positive criticism,
Hmm.
that's always good. But I think that she has actually enjoyed my little 5-minute mornings, because she's like, why don't you just do something where, if I'm sitting down with like food and I get notified on that YouTube, you posted a video, I can just pull it up while I'm eating food real quick. So yeah, no, I think overall she's supportive. And I think once we hit that dollar sign and we
Right.
start to maybe see something coming back, that it might be a lot more support coming out all of a sudden.
Definitely. So tell everybody where they could find you. Guys, by the way, I take the liberty that Blue Bob's YouTube channel is in the description. So yes, you can click on him, support him, guys. Subscribe to his channel. Me personally, Blue Bob's could tell you, I'll be up late at night. Last night, it was my time is well over midnight,
Yeah.
and I'm just watching him. He's a chill streamer. He's just all cool, and just sometimes he got his hair, and tell him about your hairstyle. Sometimes he'll have his hair in different braids and stuff. I'm like, Blue Bob's just the coolest dude. And so yeah, definitely check him out. But tell us a little bit about the type of games you like to play, or all the other stuff on your channel. Like, what all do you offer on your channel? Because I know you got your your 5-minute thing and everything. But yeah, give them a little idea of your channel and what you bring to the table as a streamer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's a great question, or great segue. So yeah, I'm Blue Bob's the Gaming CPA on YouTube. I actually just changed it to the Gaming CPA. I was like, why am I not have my full tag on there? I'm also Blue Bob's on Twitter. But yeah, so my channel for the most part, it was just kind of streaming. I also did a couple highlight videos early on, and then I was like, man, that takes a lot of time to do highlight videos. Maybe I won't do those until I have more time on my hands. But I also have done a couple random videos. I did like a Google Q3 2020 financials, where I was like, hey guys, people say Stadia is going to die. Let's talk about their alphabet company that owns Stadia. And if they're doing good financially, I think Stadia is going to be okay. So I've done a couple other videos in more the finance sector, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And now that starting 2021, I guess, I do just a 5-minute mornings where literally every day, first thing I do is I wake up and I come to my computer and I turn on the camera and the microphone and I just kind of talk for 5 minutes. And it's about whatever, if it's something I went to bed thinking about, if it's something I just thought of when I woke up, if it's a dream I had, whatever. It's really just like, there's no filter, there's no nothing. I just talk for 5 minutes, and it takes me an hour to upload it to YouTube thanks to my like 6 megabit upload speed. But once it gets uploaded, it's just like, hey, quick video update on Blue Bobs, what's going on. And then another thing I'm starting to hopefully do is give like little tax snippet videos. Obviously, the thing with giving tax advice is it doesn't apply to everyone, because everyone's financial situation is totally different. Everyone might have a C Corp, you might have an S Corp, a sole proprietorship, all these different things. So, but if you find it helpful, that's great. And eventually what I want to do with the channel is, if we can ever hit the point where I can start doing members, then I would have like a members only section where it's like maybe more hardcore tax advice.
Right.
Like, hey, if you're this or this, or hey, maybe you get a discount if you use me as your preparer, to kind of offset that YouTube membership cost or something like that. But right now, yeah, we're basically doing gaming, and then we have just a little talk show and maybe some tax advice coming, or when to even hire a CPA. I think that was my latest video on that.
Yeah, I want to give a shameless plug. Guys, at least check out his video. He has a video, and I watched it. It was pretty cool. It was like the video pretty much was helping you figure out, do you need a CPA or not? And I thought that was a really cool video, because he was really breaking down and letting you know, like, okay, if you think about getting a CPA, and it was a really cool video, because you was like, to be honest, some people don't need it.
Yeah.
And you was breaking down why, and I thought it was pretty cool. And then one of your most recent videos I liked, you actually put me in a video. You mentioned me. I was like, man. Oh snap, he mentioned me in a video. So that was kind of cool for me. But I was like, oh man, that was cool. But yeah, let's see what's going on in this comments. Oh, Token Gamer's here. He's been asking for this. So Token Gamer's in the building. Stadia Dad is in the building, and he was just doing a really cool stream playing Red Dead. I was watching his stream, and I was like, hey, I got to leave your stream because I'm going to be doing an interview with Blue Bobs. And he was like, all right, cool. So I didn't know he was going to be able to come over, so that's pretty cool. Josh said you should be the gamer CPA for YouTubers and streamers. Help them learn about expense and tax write-offs. Well, you kind of did mention that, yeah, you know, if some YouTubers get bigger, they'll realize, hey, there's a guy who's a YouTuber and he's a CPA. Yeah. And then you read what Scarlett said, so that was pretty cool. Good stuff. So let me ask you this, man. Tell the people when you stream for Stadiosource.
Okay, so I have the break-even point on Tuesdays from 3 to 4:30. So at least I think that's my time slot. I think it's 3 to 4:30. I try to do an hour and a half. I feel like an hour is a good amount, but I think if I have a little extra time, might as well just squeeze in an extra 30 minutes in case, you know, you're playing a fun game and you just want to keep playing for a little bit, you know, you can.
Now, I think I know this answer because I've been watching you a lot recently. But tell them what's the most recent game you've been into? What's the game that you're really into right now?
Man, guys, 2020 game of the year has got to be Immortals Phoenix Rising. And it actually took me by surprise. I mean, so I love the Assassin's Creed genre. And when Immortals Phoenix Rising first announced, it was called Gods and Monsters. And when they did the video, I really had no idea what it was going to be about. When they like first introduced it, you know, the bird came above the cliff and this guy was just like running towards it. And you have no idea. But just like the visual quality and just like it's so aesthetically pleasing and beautiful, and it's a big map, and the fighting style is so quick and responsive and just like entertaining, and they have puzzles in the game. And the reason why I love like a Tomb Raider game is because of like puzzles. I love to like have a little bit of a challenge where you have to work your brain a little bit to solve a puzzle. You're not just shooting and killing people the whole time. And then they have like puzzles within puzzles. And I just think it's a great combination where there's nothing that's necessarily identical in that aspect. You're not doing the exact same puzzle. It might have some similarities to another one, but it's always a little bit different. And then it's also like they have a humor to it. They put in a humorous side into the narration and the storyline, which really just ties the bow together. And it's just, to me, it's game of the year. I think I've put in like 33 hours, which doesn't sound like a lot. I don't game as much as I'd like to, but it's definitely one of my games that is just like, it's a top game, and I cannot wait for their DLC to drop for this game to have even more content.
Well, 30 something hours is pretty big. So think about it. A basic game. I dropped my my mic real quick. I have my my Stadia controller plugged in, and I've been using that. But I think when you think of it though, right? A typical game, right? Like 14 hours is like a good story mode. That's like a good man. I've you know, it's a good story mode. When you get 6 and under, you're like, they went a little cheesy. So you playing for 30 something hours is pretty cool. Let me ask you this real out off the cup question. If you had to rate from a 1 to 10 scale, and 1 being not at all and 10 being more than, how would you rate you liking this game more than Scarlett?
Ooh, that's a tough one, because I watched Scarlett stream it and she was crushing it, and she loves it as well, and I can tell. Honestly, I'd say we're probably,
you guys. Scarlett is another Stadiosource streamer, and she loves this game. She played the demo like crazy. She was talking about it way before. She also wishes they kept the name of Gods and Monsters, but she's been super into it, and she's also is in the chat. So I just thought, let me throw it a little curveball, the 1 to 10 scale. But come on, man, you got to pick a number. You know, 10 means you like it way more than she does. 0 means, you know, so.
Yeah, no, I would say, so I'm not sure the exact reason why Scarlett liked it. I don't know if it was because of the more, like, not necessarily cartoony, but like, you know, it's not quite as realistic thing.
Right.
I ended up loving it because of like the Assassin's Creed and the puzzle aspect of it. I would say let's just give it a 5. We're both even on this one.
Because as we know, Scarlett doesn't like that much violence. So this was cool for her because it has violence, but it's more animated violence. Right.
Exactly. And I could definitely see this almost being a game that like you can in essence let your kids play and kind of introduce them into gaming, as far as it does have the puzzles, which is good for kids. Like, hey, how do I get to that little treasure chest back there? We'll figure it out. But it also does have a little bit of action, but it's not, again, like you said, it's not violent. It's not bloody gory. It's just animated. So
see, when I first seen this game, it made me think of obviously Zelda, and it made me think of God of War because of, you know, the area of time, right? And then I seen the combat. I was like, whoa, the combat looks pretty cool. Because me, I don't need the greatest graphics because I used to be that graphics guy. Now I'm more into gameplay. So if you wow me with like some cool gameplay and the gameplay looks cool, I've been watching you play a lot, And I think will be the next game I actually like play and try to go through. Because right now I've just been
Yeah.
bouncing around having fun with games. But I think, yeah, man, Immortal Phoenix Rising, I think will be my next playthrough of a game.
Yeah. Oh, and you got
So
that Ubisoft Plus, right? Let's go, baby.
yes, sir. I got the
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft Plus. So yeah. So I see a bunch more people jumped in, which is pretty cool, guys. We are here interviewing my guy, the Gaming CPA, aka Andrew, and also Blue Bobs, and we're learning about him and his profession. We're also learning about him and some of his hobbies. So this is pretty cool. So do your brother? I just want to get back into. Let's jump back into the other side. So we talked a bit about gaming, and I want people to hear about gaming because a lot of people who are here are gamers. But I do want to get more into you, man, as the essence of you. The essence of Andrew. So your brother and you, the business you guys are going with, did you name it yet? Do you have something you call it?
Yeah, so we've been we actually had started two businesses together.
Okay.
One was called Stenberg Bros LLC because we're both Stenbergs. And of course, LLC, limited liability company. I highly recommend if you're going to make a business, make it an LLC. It protects your assets and protects you personally. So that's our real estate business. So we have a couple rental properties actually in Missouri, so probably closer to you than it is to me. As far as close to the East Coast. And so, yeah, that's one business. The other was called Uplifted Coffee Co. LLC. We started a coffee shop where we bought one and took it over. And then we actually just sold that one. So I'm actually going through all the fun tax things to get that liquidated, get it dissolved, and all of that. So, but our real estate projects that we got going on, hopefully in the next few months, we're going to be starting and breaking ground on is going to be through Stenberg Bros LLC, the real estate company.
Now, how many brothers and how many sisters do you have?
So I got 7 brothers and 1 sister. Okay. So it's a primarily male dominant family. And my sister is second oldest. So she did help raise quite a few of us. I think she changed diapers. I think she even told a story about me running around with that one on and pooping on the floor and she stepped in or something. So, but now, yeah, just 1 sister and 8 boys.
And it's just only one of your other brothers. It's you and him. Is that it? Just you two? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha. So the cool thing is it's a perfect partnership. So he's number 5, I'm number 9. He does construction for a living. Okay. I do numbers and finances for a living, basically. So I find properties that are like, hey, this could be a good deal. And he lets me know, yeah, this would take about this much time or this much money to put into it. And then we can be like, yeah, that's not going to work out. Or it's like, yeah, thumbs up, let's go for it. So it's really like a perfect partnership from that aspect of we both contribute. And this next project is hopefully going to be taking a piece of property, leveling the house and building 2 4-plexes on it or 2 sets of 4 townhomes, in which case he's going to be able to hire himself and his construction company. So the money's going to be staying for the most part inside of kind of like us, between us partners. Right. And then it's local. So normally right now, just because of how much stuff costs and where we live, like we sold our 1-bedroom, 1-bath house, 600 square feet for $215,000. Like that's the area we live in. It's like these ridiculous prices. So we've struggled to find projects we can do locally. That's why we're in Missouri, because it's like $60,000 for a 4-plex down there. But this project, we're actually going to level his house and then build on it. And hopefully this will allow us to, with us being local, we'll be able to dive into it and really work on it and, fingers crossed, make money in the end. That's kind of the ultimate goal,
Here, a quick question. Just have a question of my own. I see behind you, are those the things from the review that you bought from Scarlett's?
Yes, that's a great question. Yes, these are the wall mounts. So there is one Xbox controller. Sadly, I asked for the black Stadia controller for Christmas, did not get it. But yeah, these are the wall mounts. So it's like it's perfect.
Can you give a shameless plug? I love to give shameless plugs. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, they don't like promoting. I'm one of the guys where, listen, guys, I will promote everything of everybody. I will tell people to put their links in my chats. I like everybody to be able to eat off of everybody. If you don't mind, hey, let me know and I'll tell people, go check this guy out. But yeah, watch the review video or unboxing video where you just open up, you order some stuff, but we'll tell everybody and tell them where you got it from.
Yeah. So Scarlett Stream, she's obviously one of the Stadiosource streamers. She also does wood objects that she makes for you, and she has a wide variety. I ordered a headphone stand. In fact, I have it right here. I think it's tied behind some cords of mine, as well as those Stadia wall mounts. And she even put a cute little like Blue Bob's the Gaming CPA logo on it. But this guy holds the headphones. And then I also ordered, wall mount, and they're super nice. They're great, high quality. And for me, it's just like get controllers out of the way, but then it's also like, hey, I got a backdrop now a little bit, for when I'm
Right.
gaming. It's like, normally it's a white wall, but now it's got this cool kind of aesthetic thing. And dragonwoodgifts.com. I believe that will then forward you to her Etsy shop. So Etsy shop, and then I think it's Dragonwood Gifts. And it's really cool. It's great. It cleans up your desk space and it keeps your controller safe. So they're not getting like falling off a desk or getting squished in a controller case that might be pushing the buttons a little bit. And you can just have that peace of mind. So dragonwoodgifts.com by Scarlett or Carly.
Nice. Now let me ask you this, because this was the question I wanted to know. I watched your unboxing and I was like, man, I don't want to put holes in my wall. And you was like, you could put the sticky thing. So my question for you is, did you put the holes in the wall or did you put the sticky stuff?
We got holes in the wall. So I tried sticky thing. I had some paint holding up, or a paint, whatever, like some weird sticky stuff. And I was like, oh, this would be great. I put them on and I put a controller on and just was slowly unpeeling off the wall. And I was like, I'm not going to risk it. But when I got my LED lights, they came with these little tiny screws and they actually fit perfectly. So I just took a little drill and put little holes in the wall. And, I know a guy that can put putty in holes and paint it over.
Okay,
so
no harm, no foul. Okay, got you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I was curious about that. Because it looked pretty cool. And also we got to shout out her Ready Gamer One, ReadyGamer1.com. Guys, you could buy so much different apparel. I bought my Stadiosource hat from there. But she makes a lot of other stuff as well. She got the which looks cool. I've been meaning to buy one, but it's a face mask, but you put around your neck. It's like kind of like keep your neck warm, and you just pull it up over and you can pull it down. And the fact that I'm the cowboy, I probably need to have one of those things to go with my get up.
You need a bandana, man.
Yeah, man. Could I bring up a story that you told me? Could you go into that? Where you said you dressed up as a cowboy. The only thing you didn't have was the hat because you went to Vegas, right?
So no, we went to Missouri. So we flew to Missouri, and not to like obviously bash on the Midwest, but you might think like maybe a little more like cowboy as kind of a place. It's the Midwest. So my brother and I think we wore like some white V-necks. We had jeans. We had cowboy boots. And we had American flag, that face mask that you're talking about, where you could pull it up over your face. So we wear it on the airplane. And so we kind of called ourselves like the 21st century cowboys. We're not real cowboys without that cowboy hat, but it was a lot of fun. Normally we always wear suits when we fly. We try to act super professional, business professional, and wear suits. But this time we're like, let's change it up a little bit.
That's cool, man. So you had the boots, you had the buckle and everything, right?
He had a buckle. I did not think to bring a buckle. That was my bad. He had a nice big cowboy buckle on him, and I just had my normal business little silver buckle. That's a little rectangle. But next time, if we do it again next time, I'm going to bring a buckle.
And you got to get the hat.
Yes. Although imagine sitting on an airplane. I feel like with how bad the seats are, your head's going to be like propped forward at least a couple inches.
That is true. But, you can take the hat off at that moment, and then,
That's true.
You get off
the face a little bit.
Yeah, man. When you get off the plane, the slow motion of you and the hat walking with the belt buckle and the boots, I can see it. Cool. So that'd be really cool. We got Chariot Man Gaming is in the building. He said, "What's up? Now your mama knows in the Gaming CPA. What's up, man?" And I said, "This is amazing. Yes, definitely cool." I again, like I said, I love to interview interesting people, and I think Gaming CPA, like that, just has such a ring to it. It's pretty cool, and like I said, you've been really cool since I joined Stadiosource, and we've had a lot of conversations, and we've been having these midnight talks lately because I just happen to be up so late. But it's been pretty cool. So I guess we learned a lot. Can you, for the people who just came in, can you tell them again, like how could you be found? Let me ask you this before we get into that. So you, I guess the best thing people should do is find out if they need a CPA, correct?
Yes.
But do you do regular taxes since tax season is coming up?
I do. So I have a couple clients I do their personal taxes for. I also have, I think one business client ended up ending due to COVID, but I think I have another business client I also do. So I do the variety. So I do taxes for tax season. So that's definitely something I can do. If anyone is looking for a CPA, more than happy to talk about it. And again, even letting you know, like you can do this yourself. Or, if you just have certain questions, let me know. If you hit me up on Twitter, Blue Bob's on Twitter, feel free to send me a DM on there. Even if it's just a simple like, hey, this and this how is this going to affect me? And it might even inspire me to be like, I've gotten that question 3 times. Let me just make a video, hit up on my YouTube. Hey, COVID stimulus check. This is what it's going to look like on your taxes, if that's something that comes up. So that's what I would say is hit me up on Twitter, Blue Bobs. And if you have a complex scenario, I might recommend like, hey, like you can get a CPA, you can go to me, you can go to a local accounting firm. But I'd recommend just for the complexity that you do it. And again, normally like our conversations are all going to be tax free, or they're all going to be free. Like I'm not going to charge you for questions that you ask, nothing like that. So don't hesitate to ask.
Well, guess what, man? We got the gaming cyborg Ray in the
Ooh.
building. Look at that. I mean, he's always late as usual, but we're getting down to the wire of the interview. But listen, at least Ray popped his face in here. I mean, probably scaring children and everything in the comments section, but with that face of his, but it is what it is. So yeah, man, so cool. So we learned so much. People know they could contact you. So they could reach you on you prefer your Twitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have an email on my YouTube channel. I should probably check that. That has my gaming email. I basically set up a gaming account email. And until I go full force into the accounting firm where I actually have a website, I already have a domain saved. I saved it like 2 years ago, so that when I'm ready to go accounting firm, I'll have that, and I'll make sure to post that in my YouTube channel whenever that officially goes live. But yeah, you can hit me up on Twitter if that's easier, or if I have my YouTube, if I have my email on YouTube channel, you can maybe be able to find it there and shoot me an email. I mean, again, those are the 2 things I generally am checking frequently throughout the day. So yeah, any questions at all, let me know.
Okay. And guys, if you have any questions, Ray said he hates your voice. He's talking about you, not me. If you have any questions, guys, now is the time. So what else? Is there anything else you want to tell us? Or is there anything on the rise you got? Like what's maybe the next game you're planning on playing? Anything extra you want to tell us about the CPA world or accounting or anything? Like this is your time to like, go whatever you want to, I've been asking questions, but what would you like to share that, you had on your mind?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so this is a great little time. So so I kind of came a little prepared with some actual tax recommendations or advice, just some very basic for generic. Again, if you check out my YouTube video, whether or not you need a CPA, this advice, take it with a grain of salt. You might be in a different tax situation, like I was talking about earlier. So this may not apply to you. I might say contribute $5,000 to an IRA, and you're like, I only got 1,000. How am I supposed to do that? Mm-hmm. Don't worry about that. Okay. Like there's a certain time when certain things apply. So all this taken with a grain of salt. Some ways you can save money on taxes is setting up an HSA. So that HSA is a health savings account. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically you take money that comes in before it gets taxed. So if you set up through an employer plan, all right, you're going to take money that never gets taxed and goes directly into an HSA that you can then take out without getting taxed on to pay for health things, medical bills, dental bills. I have Invisalign. All right, I got these little plastic things in my mouth. That's completely paid with tax-free money. I never paid taxes on the funds because I funded my HSA through my employer. You can also fund it personally, and then I'm making monthly payments into my HSA that's covering the monthly payments on the Invisalign. So that's like one way, a good way to save money on taxes and also have funds available. So if you have, if you're a person that maybe doesn't go to the hospital too much, but you might have to go to the doctor every now and again. So you don't necessarily need the super low deductible premium plan that costs a bunch of money in premiums. If you get the high deductible, high premium plan, you can set up the HSA, you put $500 in there, you have a $300 doctor visit, boom, you pay for that with your HSA and you never were taxed on that money. So that's a great thing. Another one is IRA contributions can benefit you. This is one I've mentioned a couple times, and they reduce your taxable income. Again, if you have the funds available, it's definitely a tax advice strategy. If you don't have the funds available, don't worry about it. And I will say this, and that is if you're having to pay taxes, it normally means you're making money, which is a good thing. Right. Like normally it means you're making money. When I used to work at the accounting firm, like we had clients that were making, businesses with millions of dollars in sales and all this, and they're always like upset that you're paying tax. And I'm like, dude, you're making money. All right. That's a good thing. Now we're going to make sure you don't pay more taxes than you need to pay. But if you're owing tax at the end of the year, it means that you were making money. So that's definitely a couple things I would recommend, is checking out an HSA, because it makes sense, getting the health benefit, the medical benefit. There are caps, you only contribute so much. And there are AGI limits, which if you make too much money, you don't get that benefit. But if you're within that sweet spot where it's like, hey, I have $2,000 extra that I really could put away if I need to. And then that money also earns interest. And again, you take it out to pay for medical bills without getting taxed on it. And this is just one little basic strategy I think that could apply to people, whether you're a W-2 income earner or if you have a small business. And again, I can go into much more detail about a lot of stuff, but just in respect of time and all of that, I just want to give a little snippet to maybe pique someone's interest to go subscribe to the channel, and then feel free to ask me questions.
Now, the other day, which is cool. So here's what's cool, guys. You watch his channel and he's gaming, but there's people asking him questions, and it's so cool. When he says Gaming CPA, he's gaming and he is still a CPA. Like, explain to people real quick, if you don't mind. You had a question and you were asking, does people know? I guess you were talking about the Roth versus
traditional.
Yeah. So go into that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So go. Okay. So traditional IRA, you take money before you get taxed on it. So similar to the HSA, like, hey, let's say you have a W-2, you make $60,000, but you contribute $4,000 to traditional IRA through your employer. You're only going to show that you made $56,000. So you're going to show that you made $4,000 less. So it's contributing with pre-tax money, and then it earns interest over time, and then you get to take money out when you retire. The thing about traditional IRA, though, is since you were not taxed when you were first paid the money, you will be taxed on it when you withdraw the funds from the IRA later when you retire. If you contribute to a Roth IRA, you're going to get taxed, or you're going to pay tax now as if you made $60,000. You're going to get taxed on that $4,000. But when you pull that money out when you retire, you're not taxed on a single penny of it. So a lot of people, then this is where the balancing game comes in with the CPA. And that is, hey, if you are in a lower tax bracket right now, maybe contribute to a traditional, or sorry, maybe contribute to a traditional IRA, and pay the tax on it. Or sorry, no, I apologize. That is backwards. If you're in a higher tax bracket, contribute to the traditional IRA. Don't pay the tax when you're at a 30% tax bracket. Wait till you retire when you're maybe at a 15% tax bracket. Pull the money out then. Whereas if you're just getting into a career, maybe you're in like the 10% tax bracket. Maybe if you're doing an employer retirement contribution, do it into a Roth IRA so that when you're at that 15% tax bracket, you owe no taxes whatsoever. So you just pay it at the lower tax rate, and then later on, and it's tough because who knows, in 40 years, there might be no taxes. In 40 years, we might be paying 70% tax rate. So it is a little bit of a gambling game, but at the same time, based on like the here and now, if you have to do it, that's where the recommendations might come in from a CPA, as far as you should go traditional or you should go Roth. And I mean, for me personally, I like the idea of not paying taxes later. So I just pay taxes on it now, and just like, hey, if I make $200,000 in interest, that all comes to me tax-free when I retire. Kudos. I like that idea.
Man, it's really cool when I come on to your streams and people are in the comments asking you questions, and people are like, what? And you know me, listen, I'm coming with questions. Like, we had a whole long conversation about purchasing a home, and I'm like, I don't want to purchase a home no more. And you're breaking down like, listen, there's a reason why it's good to have a home. And that was just cool, man. You don't find that on any stream. And I'm one of the guys that I pop throughout the week. I probably spend about, man, in a week, like 10 legit hours of YouTubing, right? I'm popping in everybody's comments, and your streams are really cool because you're like, you leave your stream like, man, I think I really learned something. And so it's really cool. But we're laughing, we're joking, we're having fun. But you're literally asking, answering questions for people, which is really beneficial to them. So it's pretty cool. Is there anything else you want to add, guys? Is there any questions you wanna ask? Ray said Blue is brilliant. Of course he is. And let's see. Ray said Andy the dog wants his cowboy hat back. Why did I even read that? So, anyways, any last thing you wanna add? Man, you went in, but.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm good on my end. If there's any other questions, if you guys come up with something, I know 2020 has been a crazy year. tax law changes every year. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm more than happy to answer. The reason why I posted that CPA video when you should is because a colleague asked me, and I was like, I've been meaning to do this video, but I just haven't like necessarily found the time or the motivation. But as soon as she asked me, I was like, you know what? I guess I should just make the video as well. So again, for future people, if you're wondering, hey, I don't want to pay taxes, should I hire a CPA? And hopefully it'll help you kind of decide that in the future.
Okay, so I got two last questions for you, and I'm gonna we've been a lot into the CPA world, so two last questions for gaming. What is the next game you're planning to purchase, and if Stadia could get any game that they don't have and you don't know that's on the horizon, what game would you want that to be?
All right, next Stadia game I'm gonna purchase. Man, that's a tough one. So the biggest one I looked forward to was Doom Eternal, and I bought that one day one. That was a great game. And it's just like the next game I was going to look forward to on Stadia was Journey to the Savage Planet and Ark, and both of those are coming as pro titles, so I don't even got to purchase those. So that's tough, man. Without knowing what's coming exactly and what's free, I think if they brought COD to the platform, I would probably buy that game again personally, just to have it on Stadia. And that's also the game that I would love to buy, or the game I'd love to have come to the platform would be Call of Duty. I don't play it as much anymore, but at the same time, it's because every time I go to play it after 2 weeks, I have a 20 gig update, and I'm like, dude, I can't do this, man.
Yeah. All right, man.
So,
well, listen,
that'd be my answer.
This has been super awesome. I thank you very, very much for being a part of this. You made the time for me. I appreciate it, man. And I've been waiting to interview you forever because I think you're super interesting. And I don't know anybody who's, people try to separate that stuff, and you're the gaming CPA. And somehow some people would say that makes no sense, right? But the blend is perfect. Again, like you said, somebody's on your, watching you play games, hearing you talk about accounting. They may say, hey, look, this guy's, first of all, he's a really chill dude. Second of all, for the women, he's easy on the eyes. Third of all, his personality and his knowledge, right? So his knowledge, you could just hear it as he's answering little simple questions. And sometimes you go in depth, we're like, whoa, and he's like, oh, let me scale it back for you guys. But so I just think what you're doing is awesome. Again, like I said, when I came to Stadiosource, you was really cool trying to help me out. I think you're a good person. And I think all in all, I had the pleasure to add in this as one of the interviews I got a chance to do. So I love to talk, but a lot of people don't realize I like to host stuff too. And so I love to interview, and I just think you're perfect for, to be in the lineup. Like, oh, my 7th episode was I interviewed the Gaming CPA. So for me, that's cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, and I appreciate you having me, man. It's been a pleasure talking and hashing out, and just hopefully providing some more knowledge and awareness to individuals that are viewing the channel.
Definitely. Well, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm the all-purpose champ. This is Now Your Mama Knows. So let's talk. And you guys just had a chance to talk to the Gaming CPA Blue Bobs, aka Andrew.
Awesome.
And with that said, and now your mama knows.
And now your mama knows.